Good day, everyone. This is grade 12 mathematics, paper 2, analytical geometry, grade 12. Question 3. In the diagram, we have point A, which is 2 and 6. We have point B, which is 11 and 1. We have point C, which is -1 and -3. Are the vertices of triangle ABC. Point D is shown in the diagram such that BD and BC are perpendicular to one another. Therefore, now C is the x-intercept of BC, and AON is equal to what? Is equal to theta. Right, if the gradient of BC it is 1/3 and the gradient of AC it is 3, calculate the x-coordinate of n. Right, here we have our x, because now it is the x-intercept, our y it is 0. Therefore, now 3.1.1. the x-coordinate of n, we can use the gradient formula, because now we know that BC it is 1/3. It is equivalent to 1/3. Therefore, now we can say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is equal to 1/3, the gradient of BC, right? Therefore, now 3 over x plus 1, negative times negative is positive, right, is equal to 1/3. We can cross multiply. X plus 1 is equal to 9, and our x value for n is equal to 8, right? Therefore, now we can we find our x value for n to be 8, right? 3.1.2. The size of ACB, the size of ACB, right? Remember, tan theta is equal to the gradient, right? Let's work out the value of theta first. We know the gradient of AC to be 3, right? Therefore, now we can say tan theta is equal to 3. Then theta is equal to what? To tan inverse 3. Therefore, now our theta is equal to 71.565 degrees, right? Therefore, now let's go and work out the gradient of B and T, right? We know the gradient of BC, right? Therefore, now tan B and T, it is equal to the gradient of BC, it is 1/3, right? Is equal to 1/3. Therefore, now B and T is equal to tan inverse 1/3. Therefore, now our B and T, the angle is equal to 18.434 degrees, right? Therefore, now this angle over here, it is equal to B and T. Why? Because of the vertical opposite angles, right? Therefore, now our ONC is equal to what? Is equal to 18.434 degrees, because of the what? Of the vertical opposite angles, right? Therefore, now we have this triangle over here. So we can say that, remember, what was that formula? It is the exterior angle of a triangle. Very good. So it states that the sum of these two angles, is equal to the exterior angle of a triangle. So the sum of these two angles must be equal to what? To the value of theta, the exterior angle of a what? Of a triangle. Therefore, now we can say our C, it is equal to theta minus this angle, right? So that it can give us the value of C, because we know that this C plus this ONC must give us, when we add ONC and C, right? We must get the value of theta. Therefore, now C, it is 71.565, the value of theta, minus ONC, which is 18.434, which is going to give us 53.14 degrees. All right, 3.2. Determine the equation of AC. It is the straight line, right? AC, it is a straight line. Therefore, now 3.2, y is equal to mx plus c. Therefore, now AC, the gradient is 3. We can use the point A, right? We can use point A to find the gradient of AC. Let's use point A. Therefore, now our y value for point A, it is 6. The gradient of AC, it is 3. And then our x, it is 2 plus c. Therefore, now c is equal to 6 minus 6, which is equal to 0. Therefore, now y is equal to 3x. All right. Therefore, now 3.3. If it is further given that point D lies on AC, produced such that BC is perpendicular to BD, calculate the coordinates of D. Right. So then now this is what they mean. This line was extended, AC was extended to D such that point D lies on AC. Therefore, now for us to calculate the coordinates of D, let's find, or we have the equation of AC, but now let's find the equation of what? Of AD, of BD. Remember, the gradient of BD multiplied by the gradient of BC must give us -1, right? Because BD is perpendicular to BC. Therefore, now the gradient of BD multiplied by the gradient of BC, which is 1 over 3, must give us -1. Therefore, now the gradient of BD is equal to -3. We can use point D to find the equation for BD. Therefore, now y is equal to the gradient of BD, it is y is equal to mx plus c, right? Therefore, now y, it is 1 here. 1 is equal to, the gradient is -3, and the x, it is 11 plus c. Therefore, now our c is equal to 34, right? Therefore, now y is equal to -3x plus 34, right? Our c is equal to 34. Very good. Right. Therefore, now because we want to find point D, we can equate, right? We can equate the equation of BD and the equation of what? Of AC, right? So we can say 3x is equal to -3x plus 34, right? Therefore, now 6x is equal to 34, right? Therefore, now x is equal to, if you divide 34 by 6, therefore now it will give you 5.67 or 17 over 3, right? Therefore, now the y value for D, we can put, this is equivalent to 17 over 3. In decimal form, it is 5.67. But to find the y value of D, we can put 17 over 3 in any one of these two equations, right? In this equation or in this equation, but because this one is short, let's use that one. So y is equal to 17 over 3 multiplied by 17 over 3, which is equal to 17. So then D, it is equal to 17 over 3, and our y, it is 17. All right. So then now we first find, we had the equation of AC. Now we have to find the equation of BD. We equate the two equations to find the x value, and then after finding the x value, we substitute the x value onto one of these two equations. It will be equation of AC or the equation of BD. Therefore, now we find the y value. Right. Let's go to the next question. Question 4. M, it is -3 and 4, is the center of the large circle and a point on the small circle having center O, 0, 0. From N, it is 11 and P, right? And the tangent is drawn to touch the large circle at T. Sorry, with NT parallel to y-axis, is parallel to the y-axis, right? Therefore, now NM is a tangent to the smaller circle at M with MOS a diameter, right? It is MOS a diameter. Good. Now 4.1 determine the equation of a small circle, right? The center of a small circle, it is 0, 0. Therefore, now if the center of the small circle, it is 0, 0, therefore now the equation of a circle, it is x squared plus y squared, which is equal to r squared, sorry. Therefore, now the point on a small circle, it is point M. Therefore, now to find the r squared, we can say r squared is equal to our x, which is -3, -3 squared plus y, which is 4 squared, right? And it will give us 25. Therefore, now the equation of a small circle is what? It is x squared plus y squared, which is equal to 25. This is the equation of a circle centered at the center, 0, 0. Therefore, now 4.2. Determine the equation of a circle centered at M in the form of x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equal to r squared. Therefore, now this is our large circle. It is centered at M. So then now remember, to find r squared, right, we can find the distance, right? We can find the distance of the radius. This is our radius. This is our radius. So then now we have t. So then now we have t, which is minus 11 and 4, right? Because now this is the tangent, which is parallel to the y-axis. Our t, it is minus 11 and 4. Therefore, now for us to find the r, right, the distance from M to t, we can say r squared, it is minus 3. We can minus the x values, which are minus 3 and minus 11. Therefore, now minus 3 minus 11 is equal to our r. Therefore, now our r is equal to 8. Right? Therefore, now our the equation of the center of the equation of a larger circle, it is x minus a, right? Minus a. Our a here is minus 3, right? But when it is minus 3, it becomes what? Positive 3 squared plus y minus b. Our b is positive, therefore now it becomes minus 4 squared. And then our r, this is our r, not r squared, right? Therefore now our r squared, it is 64. This is our r, not r squared. Our r squared, it is 64. It is 8 squared, which is equivalent to 64. Therefore now 4.3. Determine the equation of nm, right, in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. Therefore now you have to know that for you to find the equation of nm, you have to know that tangent perpendicular to radius, which means we have a tangent here which is perpendicular to radius. This is a tangent to the small circle, right? This is a radius. Therefore now the tangent perpendicular to radius, which means that the gradient of mn multiplied by the gradient of mo is equal to what? To -1. That way we will be able to find the gradient of mn. Therefore now if you try and work this out, the gradient of mo is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 0 minus 4 divided by 0 minus 3, right, which is equal to -4 over 3, right? Therefore now the gradient of mn is equal to what? The gradient of mn multiplied by the gradient of mo must give us -1. Therefore now if we place -4 over 3 in place of gradient mn, which is going to be multiplied by the gradient of mo, and it is going to give us -1. Therefore now our gradient of mn will be equivalent to 3 over 4, right? 3 over 4, because 3 over 4 multiplied by -4 over 3 is equal to what? Is equal to -1. Therefore now the gradient of mn is equal to 3 over 4, sorry. Therefore now we can use the point M to find our equation in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. Therefore now our y on point M, it is 4. It is equal to 3 over 4. Our gradient, our x, it is -3 plus c. Therefore now our c, it is equal to 25 over 4, right? Therefore now our y is equal to 3 over 4x plus 25 over 4. Good. Now let's go and take a look at 4.4. Calculate the length of Sn. Right, so remember this is our equation for nm, right? This is our equation for nm. Therefore now let's go and find the value of p for n, because now they want the length of Sn, right? Therefore now let's go and find the value of p. So y is equal to 3 over 4 minus 11, which is our x, plus 25 over 4. Therefore now our y is equivalent to -2, right? Therefore now our n, it is minus 11 and negative 2. So then now to find the coordinates of S, we can use, because now our circle is centered at the center, we can say that the distance from here to here, it is equivalent to the distance from there to there, right? This distance is equal to that. Therefore now we can say, or we can use midpoint theorem if you want, because now here we have 0 and 0, right? Because now what I'm about to do, it is like an estimation, because I was going to say our S, it is 3, right? And then our y is negative 4, because now here our m, it is minus 3, and then now, which means from here the y-intercept to the left, it has traveled 3 units to the left. Therefore now it also has to travel 3 units to the right, 4 units up, I also have to travel 4 units down. Therefore now 3 and minus 4. But now we can use midpoint theorem to prove this. We can say our minus 3 point m minus 3 plus what, plus the xs, right? Xs over 2 is equal to the midpoint of 0, right? And then now for y, we can say 4 plus ys over 2 is equal to what? Is equal to 0. All right, therefore now our xs is equal to what? Because now if you cross multiply, it's gonna be minus 3 plus xs, which is equal to 0. Therefore now xs is equal to 3, and then now our ys is equal to minus 4. Therefore now we can also use midpoint theorem. Therefore now we can use distance formula, because now we have the point of n and the point of s. So then our midpoint length formula, distance formula, not midpoint, sorry. Therefore now it's equal to what? X2 minus x1, which is going to be minus 11 minus 3 squared, plus y2 minus y1, which is minus 2 minus 4 squared. Therefore now the length of Sn is 10 root 2 units, right? And in decimal form it is 14.14 units, right? 4.5. Right, so then now for 4.5, please listen attentively. Listen attentively. So then now if another circle with center B, which is negative 2 and 5, so negative 2 and 5, it is somewhere here, right? This is our B, it is somewhere here. This is our B. Therefore now, and the radius K touches the circle centered M, right? The radius K touches the circle centered at M. Determine the values of K, right? Correct to 1 decimal place. So then now they're saying the radius K touches the circle centered at M. Right? So then now if we were saying this is the circle for B, the radius, right, touches the circle centered at M. It touches this circle, right? This circle centered at M. So then now, firstly, we have to find the distance between B and M, right? After finding the distance between B and M, for us to determine the value of K, we have to add and subtract, right? So we must have two K values. We must add and subtract the radius of the circle centered at M, which is 8, right? Remember the radius, we said minus 3. I think it was on question 4.4 if I'm not mistaken, because now our T here, it is minus 11 and it is minus 11 and 4, right? Therefore now the radius for this large circle centered at M, we said it is minus 3 minus 11, which is equal to 8 units, right? And then now BM, we have to find the distance of BM, right? The distance of BM. You can use distance formula because you have the coordinates of B as minus 2 and 5, right? You are in grade 12. You can use the distance formula and you'll find your BM as root 2 units. Therefore now K is equal to what? K is equal to 8 minus root 2, which is equal to, they said correct to one decimal place, which is equal to 6.6 units, or k can be equal to 8 plus root 2, which is equal to 9.4 units. Right? So then now you are comparing the distance of BM, their centers, and their what? Their radius. We are told that the radius k touches the circle centered at M. So then now I hope you understand. Right, thank you for watching. This is the end of this session. If you want a detailed session, the basics of analytical geometry, statistics, lab sciences, physical sciences, on all topics on mathematics and so forth, don't hesitate to WhatsApp or call the number on the description below. Thank you once again for watching.